Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey guys, I'm navigating this all by myself today, so you're gonna have to forgive me. Hello, everybody. Let me get these cameras set up right. Okay, hey, moving y'all around. So sorry. Hey, how's everybody this evening? Come on in the room. We're just going to have some great conversation tonight. I'm making sure that you all can hear me very well, that you can see me good. I need you to tag somebody and let somebody know that we're on live and that we're talking about book publishing. Instagram, I can't forget that you're over here, so I'm going to be going like this and this because I got multiple cameras tonight. I'm doing it. I got multiple cameras and I'm producing Destiny. I'm doing production and everything. So I want to make sure I have the presentation ready to go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Always something. Always something. Always something, something. Always something, something. So how y'all doing? How was your day? I'm trying to pull up this presentation. It looks like it didn't save my last version. It looks like I'm trying to go to the cloud to see. I have my copy up. Okay, that's better. Hope your day was awesome. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear your day was awesome. Come on, Facebook, YouTube. Let me know that you're there. I'm just trying to stall a little bit to make sure you guys are there and that you all are ready to go. So as soon as I see some more people on Facebook and YouTube, I will get started. Who's there? Who's there? Who's there? Come on, y'all book writers. Say you want to write a book. We're going to get started like in 2 more minutes. Hey, you in New Orleans watching me? Who's that? Who's P Trusting? What kind of name is that? What's your name? What's your real name? What's your government? So I know who you are. You're in New Orleans. I'm jealous. I want to be there. Who are you? Watching me from New Orleans. I want to know. I want to know who you are watching me from New Orleans. Hey, people. Listen, we're excited tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to host our Harvest Conversation, and we're going to be talking about book publishing this evening. So you get to talk to me, you get to chat with me, you get to let me know your thoughts and your questions about publishing books and anything you want to know about publishing. That is my cousin Paula Pittman Barnhill Moore from North Carolina. You are in New Orleans. That's awesome. I want to go. I haven't been. I really, really want to go. I want to go. I want to go. So why don't you tag somebody, share this broadcast with someone, especially someone that you know is always saying that they have a book or they want to write a book and I got to write my book and I got to write my story. If you know someone like that, I want you to tag them right now. Put their name in the comment section so we'll know who that person is. And then they can reach out to me or I can reach out to them. I want them to be tuned in right now. I want them to be able to ask their questions. When will you have an opportunity to ask a publisher about your book for free? Right? So you can ask me anything tonight. We'll be happy to share with you all. And we're going to get right to it. We're going to get right to it. Those of you that are on Instagram, you're not going to be able to see the presentation, but I'll be able to talk you through everything and every point. You'll be able to hear it. Those of you that are on Facebook and YouTube, you'll be able to see the presentation and the deck that I have prepared for you all. So come on in. Let me know that you're watching. Y'all book publishers. Y'all book publishers, come on. Come on. Hey, Instagram, y'all there? I'm tagging a few people who've been in my inbox telling me that they want to publish. I'm tagging them now because it's like, okay, so where are you now? Because now you get to talk to me. Now I get to answer all your questions. And where are you? Hey, thanks for joining. Tag someone tonight. We're talking about book publishing. If you ever wanted to write a book, if you ever wanted to know anything about writing a book, tonight is your night. It's about you. All about you. All about you tonight. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, cool. Hey, Destiny, you're on Facebook now. I'm just going to tag one or two people who've been telling me they want to learn the process. And then we'll get started. Now, that was Hope. Hope, you said you write children's books. Have you already written your book or you're learning? If you're learning, you want to know, I'll speak specifically to what your needs are. If you've already written it, I'd like to know about your journey, how you made that happen. And we might have a surprise, like I might be able to bring somebody in that has published with me, and they have a testimony, and they can tell you that they work with me and their process and how things went for them. And you can get some feedback from someone that I actually worked with. So look, we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. Good luck, Destiny. I'm taking myself out of note view, putting it in play. Uh, let's see. I tested this yesterday, y'all. I really did. Um, I'm going to share my screen. I'm loving it. And it's going to ask me what I want to share. I'm mad at people going live while I'm going live. I'm going to need y'all not to go live while I'm live. The only live y'all need to be seeing is my live. Can you see that, Destiny? I'm going to look at the comments over here. Y'all forgive me. This is my first time navigating everything all by myself, and I'm actually proud of myself because I usually have somebody supporting me in the background. But instead of that, I am doing it all on my own. Look at me. I'm so proud of myself. Oh, cool. You can see it. So now I have, look at me. I have the comments over here so I can see you guys. If you post something, I can see what you're saying. I have Instagram over here and I have my presentation right in front of me. Yo, y'all can't tell me I ain't a production person. I'm publishing and producing all together all at once. Listen. So we're going to start. Welcome. Welcome tonight to our presentation. We're calling it So You Want to Write a Book. So you want to write a book. Everything you need to know about book publishing. That's what we're talking about tonight. Everything that you need to know about book publishing. We welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We know that if you're watching, you believe that you have a book inside of you. You believe that, that you were destined to write a book. You have a story that you want to tell. And I want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to make that goal a reality. So just a little bit about me. As you know, my name is Terry Washington, and I'm a storyteller. I like to consider myself a storyteller. I love to tell stories. As a little girl, I was always telling stories. I was always reading books. I was always in the house, either watching TV or reading something. And I remember that one day, because my mother had books all over her house. She was a school teacher, and we English school teacher, math teacher, and she always had books all over our house, and she encouraged us to read. And we had bookshelves with books on it, but we also had a book closet because in the closet, it was shelves in the closet, and she put books inside the closet, and it was rows and rows of books all over. And all the way to the back of the wall, it was books everywhere in this closet. And I remember it was one rainy day, and I told her that I was bored. And I said, "Oh, Mommy, I'm bored. There's nothing to do. It's raining outside. There's nothing to do inside." And she said, "Read a book." And that's something that she would always say. She would always say, "Read a book, read a book." And so I told her that it was nothing left to read because I had read everything. And I read everything until I read everything that was in the closet already. And, the library's closed, it's raining, it's a Saturday, whatever. I have nothing else to read. And she said to me, then write your own stories. And so I remember that day. I'll never forget that day. She told me to write my own story. So I got a pen, I got a pencil and some paper, and I just started writing my own stories. And I've been writing ever since, because when you write, you can create a world, whatever's in your mind, whatever you can imagine, you can create it through words. And because I had read so many books, and in those pages, I began to explore places that I have never been, and I traveled the world because I read books. I started imagining that for myself, and I started, writing stories that I wanted people to explore my imagination, and the places that I created, I wanted them to experience that also. So I consider myself a storyteller. I'm skipping down a little bit, but I'm also a servant leader at my church, an ordained minister, and I preach the gospel. And I like to say that what I am is a storyteller. I'm a storyteller of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so, um, uh, talking about Jesus and telling everyone about him and creating a relationship with him, I do that as well through storytelling. Just a little bit about my education and what makes me qualified to talk about book publishing tonight is that I have a master of science degree in journalism from Columbia University. This qualifies me. I started long before I even went to school. I started Harvest Magazine and created a Third Dimension Publishing, book publishing company. And I self-published my own book entitled Take Off the Mask. And then there is so much more to come. The Third Dimension Publishing, wow, I want to say it's over 15 years. I should have counted before I got online. Whenever it was that I wrote Take Off the Mask, I started Third Dimension Publishing. And so I've been working with publishers ever since, publishing other authors and publishing other books. So I believe that it is my goal to encourage you all to write. I know that because of my story, because of my journey, I can help you in your process to write your stories and your books as well. So you want to write a book. So you want to write a book. The first thing, if you called me and you told me that you wanted to write a book, and you inboxed me and you said, Terry, I want to write a book and I don't know how to do that. And how should I do that? What should I go about? I'm going to take you through consultation that I give to all of the authors that come to me and tell me that they want to write a book. I'm going to walk you through what I tell them. This will be a 1-hour presentation, give or take a little, because we started a little late. And I'm going to take you through what I tell them, what the steps are. And I get to know a little bit about you. I take you through what the expectations are, what exactly is book publishing. This is what our presentation is going to be on tonight. So take notes. I want you guys to take notes. I want you guys to drop me some questions in the comments. From time to time, I'm going to glance over to see if I have any questions. You guys will also, at the end of the presentation, I'll ask you if you have questions. So if you want to hold your questions to the end, feel free to do that as well. But from time to time, we're going to be just a little bit informal, and we're going to make sure that we see all of the questions and everybody is good. From time to time, talk back to me so I know that I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, y'all? All righty. So the first thing I would say, if you contacted me and we set up a time for us to talk about book publishing and my consultation, the first thing I would ask you is why. Why do you want to write a book? Why do you want to write a book? For those of you on Instagram, I know you're not able to see the presentation, but it's why. Why would you want to write a book? Why do you want to write a book? Most people, when I talk to them, they say, oh, I have a story to tell. I've been through some things in my life, whether they had some struggles in their life, whether they had some hardships in their life, whether they a journey or something like that, they say, I've had some struggles and stuff, and I made it out, so I want to write a book. And then you have some other people who they've been told, you should write a book. Oh girl, you should write a book because you've been through so much. You should write a book. And somebody need to know your story. And some people have even, people constantly tell them over and over that they need to write a book. And then there's sometimes you may have an expertise, you may have something that you're good at, you may have a skill, you may have something that you want to market, and you want to put it in a book because you believe that people need to know and learn from what you know. You want to pass on knowledge. Whatever your reason is, you have to know why. Because when you know why you want to write a book, it's going to keep you focused when you want to quit. As we go through the presentation, as we go through the deck, you're going to see that writing a book is not easy. You're going to have some times when you don't want to do it anymore. You're going to have some times when you say, what in the world was I thinking? You're going to give up. You're going to want to quit. But when you know your why, you won't quit. And I even encourage authors to write down your why. Write it down. Write down why. Write down why you want to write a book. Write it down, because when you write down why you want to write a book and you post it on the computer or post it on your mirror. And so every day you can say, this is why I want to write it. This is why I want to write a book. And your why would have to be why, who do you want to impact? If I write this book, it's going to, change the world. Why do we need this? Why do we need your story in the world? Why does others need to know your story? Who is it going to impact? Whose life is it going to change? What difference it's going to make? And write that down. Because when you write that down, I want to write this book because everyone that reads it, if I was abused, I'm going to be able to connect with that teenager who was abused, and then they're going to see my story, and then I'll be able to help them too. Something like that. But whatever it is, you have to know what that why is, and you have to keep it readily, every day, look at it and know what it is, because when it gets difficult, it can't just be, I want to write a book because somebody told me I should write a book. Because you're investing in this, you're investing your time, you're investing your money, you're investing exposing yourself and being vulnerable. You're making a huge investment. So you got to know why you're doing it in order to see the results of it, in order for it to be a really, really good book. Okay, so know your why. The second thing that I would ask is, what's your book about? So the first question is, why are you writing a book? It might have been flipped around, but I would ask, what's your book about? So we're on the phone and we're talking, or we're in person, and I'd say, what's your book about? Tell me about your book. You say you want to write a book. So what is your book about? You got to have you got to have that elevator pitch. You got to have 2 or 3 sentences, really good sentences that tell someone quickly what your book is about. Now, you're talking to friends, you're talking to family, you're talking to your girlfriend. You might go into this long explanation of what your book is about. And girl, it's about, when I was growing up and the things that I was going through, and it talks about, me overcoming these challenges, and girl, I was doing this and that. You got to really get 2 or 3 sentences that really speaks to what your book is about. It describes it. It almost describes who you're trying to reach, what points you're trying to make, the impact it's going to have. You know, if you ever read the back of a book and you see that paragraph in the back of the book and it tells you what the book is about, that's that elevator pitch. I've actually printed on the back of other publishers' book what they told me. I asked them to write their elevator pitch and I asked them to work on it, and they really worked on it really good. And we used that paragraph for the back of their description of the book. Because when people read the back of your book, they know what it's about before they even read the inside, right? So that is that elevator pitch. And then you memorize that. You get it real good and you memorize it. So then when anybody asks you, you know, you want to just know this platform for yourself. Not only am I writing a book, it's about this. I know why I'm writing it. And here's my elevator pitch. Then one of the things that I ask you to tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself. What makes you an expert in this area? What is it about you that qualifies you to talk about this? Why are people going to believe you? I'm going to ask you those questions. And as an author of a book, someone who's writing, you need to know that. You need to be able to answer those questions. Tell me about yourself. What makes you an expert? If you're writing, you know, about a cookbook or whatever, I need to know how long you've been cooking. I need to believe that you're a good cook. If you're writing about growing up in a certain place, unless you're writing fiction, you know, I need to know that you're an expert in whatever field that you're writing in, right? If you're writing children's books, how are you an expert in writing these children's books? What is the story about? Did you do your research? Have you done any research about that genre? What is the genre that you're writing in? Excuse me. Is it children's books? Who are you writing to? Who's the target audience? There's a whole nother genre for young people now. They call it YA. Are you writing youth books? You know, teenage stories for teenagers? You need to know who you're writing to, who's your audience. And you need to know if that story's already been told. I mean, do a quick Google search. Even if you have like a writing title, they say, you know, you have a title that may not be the title that you end up with, but it's a writing title. It's something that you're using just, you know, to go along and to complete it. Do a Google search, you know, do a Google search on the topic, do a Google search on the title, do a Google search just to see if someone else has already done it. You want to know your competition, right? You want to know the area of who else is out there. You want to know if it's already been done, it's already been exhausted. And if you need to do like a little, you know, pivot a little bit and make it a little different, you need to know that. Okay. And then I would ask you some questions. So in this first part, I'm asking you about yourself. So my consultation is like an interview. I get to know you, and then you get to know me. I start asking you questions about yourself as they do in interviews, just so that I can know who you are and if you're really serious about this journey that you're about to take. And then I tell you about my company and about publishing and answer any questions that you have. So after I ask you all, you know, those questions, then I begin to ask you, you know, what are you reading? Because a writer reads. I want to know what you're reading. What authors do you like? Who are you, you know, patterning yourself after? It's okay to have influencers. Who are they? What's your writing style? I need you to know your writing style. There's some rhythm. Some authors write with rhythm, and when you read, you can almost feel a beat to the words that they're saying. Some authors are very, very creative. They use a lot of descriptions, and you can almost put yourself in the place that they're describing, and you can really visualize it. That's the like the mark of an excellent writer, is when you're painting the pages, you're painting the words on the pages. You're actually making the writer see what you're saying, see what you're writing. That's something that I always tell my authors. Don't write it, paint it. Let me see what you're saying. Describe it for me. What does it look like? What does it feel like? If it's a windy day, describe the day. Are the leaves blowing? Are there leaves on the ground? What does the wind feel like? Do you smell the wind? Is it smells in the air? All these things help you in your writing. I want to know who you're learning from. So as you read, you become a stronger writer. And as you read, you learn more writing styles. And then you find what fits your preference, right? You find what is best for you, and you can switch back and forth. If it's really good, you can write this way, you can write another way another time. But that's what I want to know. I want to know who you're reading. Or if you just think everybody gonna read your book just because you wrote it. So after that, there's another thing I wanted to mention, that a writer not only reads, but a writer writes. So I want to know how often do you write? What writers group, they have writers groups that you could join, that you can practice your writing. Are you journaling? Is a simple form of practicing writing. Journaling. I ask people all the time when they call me. I said, do you journal? Do you write? How often do you write? Or are you just writing this? Most people journal. Most people journal every day. That helps with your craft of becoming a better writer, a stronger writer. And every day you should be writing something. So you can't say that you're a writer if you're not writing, right? So any profession that someone is in, they actually do that, right? So what's in the news now? They're talking about the young woman who in tennis, and she's a tennis player. No doubt she's in all the way at the master's level. No doubt she plays tennis for hours at a time, and she practices for hours at a time. So that makes her a tennis player. So you really can't call yourself a writer if you don't write. Okay, guys. So a writer reads and a writer writes. So I'm going to ask you, what are you reading and what are you writing? How often do you write? So then that brings us to book publishing. And this is where I share about the publishing business and what we do. So in publishing, there are several different types of publishing. There's commercial publishing, there's subsidiary publishing, and then there's self-publishing. You may not have heard of any of those, but we're going to take you through it. Now, commercial publishing, or what's more known as mainstream publishers, are people like houses like Penguin Random House. You've heard of that, you guys, on Instagram, and HarperCollins and Simon and Schuster. Those big brand name publishing houses you've heard of. That's commercial publishing, and those publishers only speak with book agents. So as an author, I would hire a book agent And then that agent would represent me to one of these big publishing houses. Now, you can't just send a big publishing house your manuscript because they didn't ask you. It's almost like you got to be invited in. And so you have to have a book, you have to have an agent, a book agent, who has connections with these publishing houses in order to get in. And they only solicit and ask for a few authors a year because they only have a budget, for a few of them a year. And so they may only, acquire maybe 6 publishers a year, sometimes less. Authors a year. They may just acquire 3, depending on their budget for the year. They may only work with a very few authors. And so you can imagine how many writers there are trying to get into these big publishing houses. So you got to be really, really good. So you got to be like a Stephen King. You got to be like an Oprah Winfrey. You got to really be established or have some really good connections to get into these commercial mainstream publishing houses. These publishing houses actually send you advance payment before your book is even finished. They'll send you advance payment before your book is even finished. And so you get paid to sit home and read and write your book. So you've heard of those people who have, deadlines, and you've seen those movies. I've seen it in the movies where people are writing a book and they get, they can't think. And then the publisher comes to them and they're like, you owe me these pages and you're supposed to be giving me these pages. And, we're going to take back that advancement because you owe us this. So they give you money up front so you can stay home and just write because they believe in your story. They believe in your vision, and they believe that they're going to sell millions and millions of copies of this book, and they're going to make lots of money. So that's the commercial publishing side. I want you to be clear on all of the publishing businesses. Then you have the subsidiary publishing. This type of publishing uses author involvement. The author pays the cost for this publishing, right? The author pays for expert editors. The author pays for expert typesetters. The author pays for cover designers and printers, and pays for the production of their book. But unlike the commercial publishers, you own your manuscript and your book. Okay? One second, guys. I got a special guest coming in. Did I lose Instagram? Nope. You guys are there? I hope I didn't lose Instagram. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all can see me on Instagram? Because I can't see you no more. Yeah, so unlike commercial publishing and subsidiary publishing, you own your manuscript and your books. Nobody takes your manuscript. So with the commercial publishers, you no longer own that. That's why they paid you up front. They paid you for your work. But with subsidiary publishing, so they'll tell you how much, your royalties are. They'll tell you how much they're going to pay you. They demand things. They want a second book after this book. You work for them. With subsidiary publishing, you own your manuscript and you own your books and you own your rights, your copyright. You own your book. and you're completely involved in the whole process. And with self-publishing, I put there, you do you, boo. With self-publishing, you do you. So you not only pay for everything, you have no help. You are, you're your own editor. You write, you edit, you print, you design, you do it all with no help. So subsidiary publishing, you have help. Commercial publishing, they own you. Self-publishing, you have no help. You do it on your own. You can go to, this self-publisher, you can use apps. Sometimes they have, I don't want to tell y'all, they have apps, that you could just upload your manuscript, pay for it, upload your manuscript. In a few days, they're going to mail you a book. Good luck with that, because you have no editing, no critique, there's no marketing, and there is no advertising. I personally would be afraid to do that. So those are the 3 types of publishing. And then we have third dimension publishing. That's me. So I am a subsidiary publishing house. I help you in your journey and your process to become a successful author and to achieve your goal to become a published author. That's third dimension publishing. That's what we do here. And I'm going to see at this point, I have somebody in the room. I do have somebody in the room. Hey!
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
You can hear me, yes. On Instagram, we have Pastor Kevin Counts. You guys can't see him, but we have Pastor Kevin Counts. He has popped in. Ha! Hey, Kevin.
Well, how are you?
I'm doing good. We have people, listen, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we are on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And
well, hello, everybody.
So people are here, and we're taking them through the publishing process and telling them what to expect. And I wanted to have you on because you took those steps with me, and you were able to become a published author and achieve your goal. And I know you're proud of yourself for doing that, and we are proud of you as well. And so we just wanted you to talk just a little bit about your journey and what you thought. Only say good things. What what you thought about the process. So what was your goal when you first came to Third Dimension Publishing?
All right. So I've never really considered myself an author, but at some point, God had really put something in my spirit about really teaching young people how to evangelize. I think we in the church, because I'm a pastor. I don't know how many out there are Christians or pastors or whatever, but in the church world, we talk a lot about blessing, and we talk a lot about favor, and we talk about sin and things of that nature, but we never really teach how to evangelize and how to win people for Christ. And so I would always struggle with people in the church, and people would always have difficulty having to start an organic conversation. And so we would have what we call outreaches. On Saturdays, we go out into the street and we meet people and we talk to people. And I would always end up praying with people and leading people in these prayers of conversion and winning people for Christ. And people would come back a little demoralized because they would see me talking and having a good time with people and praying with people, and would come back and get a list, follow-up list, who prayed with who. and people would come back and say they didn't really pray with anybody. And so they would always ask me, how in the world, Pastor, are you always praying for people? And they thought that it was like some special talent. It was like this special gift from God that I had that they didn't have. And so what I was trying to teach them is that it's not really a special gift. It's just, I got a sales background, a marketing background. I know how to talk to people. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a class on how to teach people how to evangelize, like what my methods were, and it was such a success. So I'm teaching these churches, and these new churches are coming that didn't have outreach programs. And I'm going, man, if it's working for these churches and it worked for my church, then man, more people need to hear it. And so I decided to write a book, and I had never written a book before. I was completely lost to the program, and I stumbled upon Third Dimension, and thank God I did. I mean, I know this sounds like an infomercial, but it's true. I had an immediate word that I had to get out. It was time sensitive, in my opinion, because of what God told me to do. And so I contacted her, and she kind of ran through the process, and how much it was going to cost. And surprisingly, it wasn't nearly as much as some of the other people as I was shopping around. And so, but what I liked was that the editing service, like, because again, I'm not a writer. I mean, I write sermons, but I write, and that's one of the things that she told me is that I write how I speak, and you have to write differently. When you write a book, you have to write differently. And so my whole book was like a sermon. Like I could have preached it. And she's like, nah, you can't write like that. You can switch it up, and made it more palatable for the reader. And I had no idea. All that was entailed. It happened quickly. I mean, the barcode and the stuff that I didn't even think about needed to be done. I just had a word that I wanted to get out, and that God had told me to get out. And I mean, it was seamless. It may not happen. I got to put that disclaimer. It may not happen for you that fast. I'm not sure how fast or how busy she is now. But I mean, it turned around pretty quick. And again, I was diligent too, because I had to get out, so I was constantly working. They would send me the edits. I think we did a number of edits, and they would come back and we edit and do it again. And finally, we got it there, and everything was. I mean, from the artwork to the design to the labeling to the marketing to the everything. And to date, I believe, I want to say the count is at, we've sold over 2,700 books.
Wow.
And that's not really, 2,700 books. And so that may not seem like a lot for you, but for me, that is a ton of people that have a mode of evangelism in their hands. People that did not know how to talk to people and are now winning souls for the kingdom of God. Through the message or through the book that I put out. And I know it sounds like an infomercial, but I checked a couple of different places. I even thought about doing it myself because I'm that person, the kind of DIY kind of guy. And I ain't paying for nobody to do nothing I can do myself. But I'm glad that I did, because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know. It happened well. The book was well. I received all kind of reviews from it. People requested me to write another book, which I'm actually working on, and I'm going to do that with third. Yep, I'm working on. Actually, I got 3 more now.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm working. I'm working on that, and so you can really say, I thank God for that. I thank God for that. I learned a lot in that lesson. So if you're thinking about jumping on the bandwagon, so to speak, it'd be a good time to do it. You got a good person. It was so personable. She cared. Took time to interview me, find out what my interest was, what was I trying to do, what was I trying to express. No one was doing that with me. It was just all about money. How many units do you want to sell, and what do you want to do, and where are you trying to get it out? Do you want it on Kindle? Do you want to? And this was completely different. It was personable. It felt like family. It was family, and I had a good time doing it. It was a great experience. So much so that I would say I would do it again. It wasn't arduous like I thought it was going to be, so. Go for it.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that success. And I have one other question for you. So my schedule was sort of busy, so I couldn't edit personally with you. So some of my other authors, right, I worked with them personally and was their editor. I remember with your experience, we got another editor for you, right? So there's not just me, editing. I have editors. that come in,
Right.
and she is a scholar, right? She's a professor at a college.
Hey,
And tell us about
she
your
don't play.
experience with the editor.
She don't play, man. Listen, listen. Okay, so so we actually clashed in the beginning, not in a bad way, not in a bad way.
Okay,
We
okay.
clashed in the beginning because I remember. Okay, so I had a vision. I wanted it to be a certain way. She was professional. I was more of an orator. So she gives me her credentials, and she's this professor. She teaches, and she's like, I mean, the truth. And so she goes, okay, how do you want me to do this? Because, you know, I can be nice and I can be gracious to you, or I can be hard on you and we can make this thing right. And I go, listen, you know, I'm a perfectionist. I don't want to put a subpar product out. I want it to be good. And she said, well, just so you know, I don't want to offend you or anything, but, you know, I've run into experience, you know, your writing is your baby, and it is, and your writing is your baby. That's your baby. You want to nurture it. You want to take care of it. But I'm on the outside looking in. And she's like, I just want you to know that I want to help you. She's like, well, that's what I want to help you. It may seem like I'm not, but I promise you, if we get through it together, you're going to notice that I'm helping you. And so we clashed in the beginning because her edits were serious. And I just wasn't used to that. You know, I've written papers for college. I've gone through my whole, thing. I've, again, written sermons forever and ever. But it was completely different. And so she would go, well, yeah, you have to word it differently. You can't say it this way. And so we clashed in the beginning. And then she goes, you know what? Let's take a step back. So we had a phone call, and it wasn't about the writing. It was simply about what I was trying to say. And she just asked me, what was I trying to say? What did you want to say? And I think you asked me the same question too. I believe, like we talked. And so it was the same kind of thing. But she asked, what are you trying to say? I hear what you wrote. I'm reading what you wrote. What are you trying to say? And when I was able to express my heart to her, then the edits, I started understanding. So she started explaining to me, if you want to be effective at ministering this to a group of people, you've got to reach them this way. And so it was a learning experience for me. I just didn't get it. And so I had to humble myself and realize, even though I was used to writing sermons, 3 times a week or whatever, I was used to writing sermons, I had no experience in writing a book. And so I remember telling her, I said, all right, I'm going to trust you and we'll see how it goes. And she was like, well, you're in good hands. And sure enough, listen, the book is straight. The book is straight.
Yes. Good. And I remember when it was when you finished it, I was very, very proud of it. I remember us working on the cover. I was I'm a stickler for the cover. And and the cover has to speak to the story, right? So you decided on an excellent cover, and it all came together. And within deadline.
Oh yeah. We met the deadline, and it was a rush deadline too, because again, it was time sensitive. I think I was more impressed with that. Not that I would expect it to go that fast again, but thank you for being gracious to me.
And with the deadline,
but we met the deadline. I'm so proud of that. We got it done just in time. I actually had a huge event that I was speaking at. It was the thing. I had a massive event. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people that were going to be there. They had asked me to come and speak, and I was going to be speaking on evagelism, and I wanted to be able to have product there to be able to give to them. And I think majority of it, I bought myself just so that they can have it. I bought it just so they can have it while we were there, and then we put it on Amazon. But yeah, I did have a deadline because I wanted to be at that event. And thank you so much. I can never repay you enough for meeting that deadline, and really got it out. And so we did meet a deadline, which we thought at the beginning we thought we weren't going to be able to make it. Like you were like, all right, Kevin, like
I don't know.
You might be pushing a little bit much.
I didn't want to make any promises, but we normally work from the back up forward, right? So you tell me what your date is, and then we work forward, and then I tell you how much time, how committed are you to make that deadline, right? We have a question for you.
Yes.
Michael is asking how long. Michael Gibson, thanks for watching. He's asking how long was your process? So from start to finish, what do you think?
Ooh, it was quick. But then again, I did a lot of work, and I stayed at my computer all night, hours. I want to say it was just shy of 90 days. I want to say, because I know the meeting was in June,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to say I maybe began in March. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
we.
have to check
Yeah.
the dates, but I want to say it was about 90 days or so. It was very, very fast. It was, normally stuff like that can take upwards of 12 months, at least 8 to 12 months, I would think. But it happened fairly quickly. But then again, I was willing to do the work. I mean, they sent me an edit. They worked hard too. They worked really hard. And immediately. As soon as they sent me, I was like waiting on it. And as soon as they sent me the edit, what needed to be done, I was changing stuff. I was fixing stuff. I was
Yeah.
rewording and
Yeah. We were
and so then
bouncing
I
it
would
back.
sit back there. Yeah. And we were doing that many times late night. And so that's
Yeah.
another point though. I didn't even say they worked after hours to help me. Like
Mm-hmm.
most people wouldn't work. I remember getting an edit back from the editor at like 1 a.m. or something like that. Like 1 a.m. she was up editing my at 1 a.m. Like that's unheard of. So it really just still share the testimony that they really did care about my vision and was really trying to help me. But I would say, Michael, about 90 days. It wouldn't have been much more than 90 days.
Yeah, he said, brother, you were getting it in. He said that was really quick. He said you were getting it,
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
getting it done.
yeah. And but
Yeah.
when it's inspired, I don't know where you are, Michael, but when it's inspired, the writing comes easy. I mean, it's just flowing out of your heart, So when I sat down to write the book, when I got the vision to write it and sat down to just write it, I mean, it was coming like I was preaching. I think I probably wrote the first edit in a week, maybe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, once you got the rhythm, once you and your editor got on the same page. So in the beginning, is I'm getting to know you, you're getting to know me. But once you
Yeah,
get that groove,
yeah,
it just happens. It happens.
yeah.
So
It
the
does.
it happens. But I appreciate you for calling in. I know this is Pastor Kevin Counts, y'all. He just finished service, midweek service,
I did.
and
I did.
he said that he would pop
Had to
in.
jump on.
Yeah, thank you so much. We wanted you to come in and just share your testimony. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll talk to you
My
soon.
honor.
Let's get those three other
Thank
books.
you. Yeah, we're working on that book.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. All right. God
All
bless
right.
you,
We'll
and
talk to
God
you
bless you,
later.
everybody. Thank you for
All
listening to
right.
me.
Take
All
care.
right. All right. Now.
Wow, what an awesome testimony. Instagram, you still there? I'm sorry. He came up on StreamYard, and so I wasn't able to upload him on Instagram, but hopefully you were able to hear what he was saying. And we really appreciate that testimony. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I'm glad I'm recording. I'm glad I'm recording. Listen, we're going to finish up. We're going to go back to our deck. But put your questions in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking after that awesome testimony. Okay, so we're back up. And so that's Third Dimension Publishing. That's the awesome testimony that just came from Pastor Kevin Counts, and his book is on Amazon. So look him up on the Pastor Kevin Counts. Don't make me lie on the title. Don't make me lie on the title. I don't remember the title, but look up Pastor Kevin Counts. It's something about fishers of men, something like that. And he's on Amazon. He's on everywhere books are sold. You can look it up. So listen, everybody has a story, but everybody is not a writer. Can I say that again? Who said that awesome thing? Terry Washington. She said that. Everyone has a story, but everyone is not a writer. You have to know what your limitations are. You have to know when you need help. You have to know, I may be good in this area, but I'm not good in this area. You have to want to produce and publish the best product that you can possibly produce. And you want to make sure that you get help if you need the help, right? I've seen books, and you've seen them. You can tell when someone has just uploaded their book straight to one of those print houses and uploaded their manuscript straight, and you'll open it up and you'll see the way that it's typeset on the inside. You see the cover, and you can see the product, and then you can see, the difference in books that are on the shelves at bookstores. So where do you want to be, and where you want to be? What do you want your book to look like? Where do you want to be, right? So when you come to me and you say that you want my help and you want to work with me and work with my editors, again, it's not just me. I have a team and a staff. I hire experts to help me publish your best work. The first thing we do is you go through a critique. So you heard Kevin talk about the critique process, and I asked him what he wanted to do, what he wanted to accomplish, what was he trying to say. This sometimes is difficult because that thing that you've been working on for months and months and sometimes years, people have their books and they're so, they hold it like babies. It is your baby. And it's almost like, when you take your baby out of the house for the first time and you're showing your baby to the world, you're so careful about who holds the baby and you're so careful about who touches the baby and who you let take the baby, right? And so I understand that, and I get that, because I wrote a book, I self-published, I went through I learned the subsidiary process, and so that's why I'm here, because I understand that this is your baby, and you're really tied to it, and you're afraid to let it go. So some people, when they go through the critique, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, they don't come back. The critique is the first step. And they don't come back because I done told them that they baby needs work. I told them, this is, your baby is good. It's a good start. This is a good start, but your baby needs work. And some people don't come back. Some people are not up for the journey. Some people just want to go and upload it to those apps and just upload it and go. But that's fine. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if you want to put the work in, come here and call me. So every writer, no matter how good you are, no matter how good you think you are, every writer needs an editor. An editor needs an editor. Kevin went through the editing process, and guess who edited the editor? I did. It didn't go out until she checked his work and I checked her work. So an editor needs an editor. So when you come to Third Dimension Publishing, the editor will read your finished manuscript. So wherever you are in your process, you bring me your complete manuscript. You have to be done when you come to me, right? Unless you want to take my book coaching classes and you want me to help you in your book writing process and bring you along the journey to completion. That's another thing. But if you're ready to actually publish it and package it, it needs to be done, or what you consider it to be done. I don't want you to still be writing when you come to the book publishing part, right? So we want to critique the whole thing. And then you're going to receive a written critique back from your editor. So you're going to be assigned a project manager and you're going to be assigned an editor. The project manager discusses your timeline. When do you want to have it done? What's the date of completion? What date are you thinking about having it done? So I recommend 6 months. If your manuscript is finished, you can do it in 6 months. If you're still writing, add 2 more months to that, and then add 2 more months to that. Because production alone will be 2 months, unless you push me like Kevin did, right? And so then That all depends on timing. That depends on who we have available, who can work under those timelines. And then, of course, sometimes you pay to rush, right? So your project manager will discuss your expectations. What's your timeline? When do you want it out? How many copies? Things like that. They will talk about it, and then they will make a timeline for you. Your editor will start working on it and critiquing. Now, it depends on, all of this depends on you. So here's the editing process. Editing is a partnership. You heard Kevin talk about that. He started a relationship with his editor. They talked so much that they became friends. And that's how it is. You're going to be talking so much with your editor that y'all going to know each other very, very well. And you're going to need those conversations because they need to pull on you to pull whatever it is that you're trying to say. They want to make sure you put it on the paper. You want to be exhausted. Whatever topic that you're writing about, you want to pour it all out on the pages. Now, I know you say, it ain't even all that. She's just doing the most. I promise you, if you want it to be good, the reader will it'll be transposed from the pages that you exhausted yourself through this. It'll come through the reading. It'll come through the words. And people can tell if you just do it together or if you really, really took time. So editing is a partnership. It will take as long as you take it. It's going to take as long as you take it. Now, if you have deadlines, because the editor is going to give you assignments, they're going to send something back to you, and they're going to say, fix this, fix this, fix this. They're going to ask for rewrites. They're going to say, I don't even get this paragraph right here. These 2 pages. What in the world were you trying to say? That's probably me when I edit. What are you trying to say? What did you mean? The editor looks for gaps. Because you've had this baby for so long, it's you. And so you heard Kevin say that he was writing like he preached. So it was coming across like a sermon, but it's a different kind of language when you write a book and you want to engage with the reader and you want to paint the picture. So you can't be odious. You can't just say it's that. No, why is it that? Describe that to me. And what is that? And what did you say? And so it could be in your head. It could be in your head because you've been with this baby so long. So you know the baby's name. You know what the baby like to eat. You know when the baby wakes up. You know the feeding of the baby. Like you know everything about the baby, but I don't know your baby. I'm the reader. I'm just coming in and I don't know. So I read and I critique from this is brand new to me. I don't know nothing about it. So I'm reading like someone that will read it. And if I have a question, the reader is going to have a question. If I'm looking at something and I say, what does this mean? What happened here? Well, you didn't say that you went to the store and you came back. You didn't say that. Oh, but that's what I meant, but you didn't say it. So that's what your editor does. It makes sure there's no gaps. It's going to ask you to rewrite things. It's going to ask you to dig deeper, tell your story. Sometimes, we tell our life stories. Now, you done been through stuff and you want to tell people about what you've been through. But then you could tell when I read it, I could tell when you go all the way so far and you stop. So don't bring it up if you don't want to tell the whole story. Because if you're going to bring it up, I want to know all of it. I want to know all of it, the dirt of it. I want to know all of it. And if you have not learned a lesson of your journey that you're writing about, I can tell that also. I can tell that. So make sure, and this is me, I'm that kind of editor. Make sure you know you got the lesson before you tell the story. Make sure you're an expert of this story. Because people are going to be able to tell, unless you're writing fiction, and it got to be some good fiction. Because then even with fiction, you become the characters, right? So you become the character, and the character has to have taken this journey, and what do they feel right now in this journey? What are they experiencing? What would you say when you were going this way? What these characters come alive, right? We're going to try to hurry up. And then the cover design. Cover design to me is the most important thing. Now, you go through all the editing, it's important. Don't get me wrong. But whoever said you can't judge a book by its cover lied. I'll say that again. Whoever said you can't judge a book by its cover lied. Now, y'all talking about the scripture in the Bible that said God looks out the heart and not the outer appearance. That's not the same thing. This ain't scripture. This is the cover of your book. It's the design. And I know that certain books won't even go on the shelf at bookstores if the design if it's not well designed. Have you been to Barnes & Noble? Have you been to Books A Million? Have you been to these other bookstores? The space in these bookstores are limited. They're limited in what books they can actually have on the shelf. Everybody wants their book to be on the shelf. Now everything is Amazon. Amazon done took over the world, and y'all feel like y'all could just do whatever y'all want to do. But if you want to really, really sell a book, the cover sells the book, y'all. The cover sells the book. There's a rule that actually says you have less than a minute to make the sale, right? So if you're in a bookstore like me, I love going to the bookstore. Before pre-COVID, I would go in the bookstore. I would hang out in the bookstores and coffee shops, and I would just be there all day long. That was my zone. That was where I wanted to be. And I would pick up a book from the title of the book and from the cover of the book, right? So when you're shopping and you're casually looking at books, you're in a section, a certain section. It could be fiction, it could be nonfiction. And the first thing you do, because you got that spine, right? And so you'll pull it out that way, or they'll have it facing you. Most bookstores will have it facing you so you can see the front of the book. Why do they do that? Because the cover sells the book. And so if you pick up the book off the shelf, you pick it up because that cover spoke to you, right? You pick it up because the cover spoke to you. But then this is the rule. This is the secret. If you get that customer to turn it over and start reading that paragraph that I talked about, that pitch, if you get them to start reading it, that means you made the sale. So if I took it, you want them to grab it off the shelf because it looks good. But when you turn that puppy over, that means that customer wants to know more about it. That means because you wrote a well elevator pitch on the back, it's so good that I'm going to get that sale because she already know now. And then don't get her to open it up and start flipping through. Oh, no. She's taking that book to the cash register. So you got to make sure that everything about your book looks well, right? So you have to invest in a designer that specializes in book covers. Don't you know all graphic artists aren't the same? Just because they say they're a graphic artist does not mean that they specialize in book covers. You want to make sure you get a graphic artist that specializes in book covers. We have those connections with Third Dimension Publishing. We have them on staff. Typesetting as well. Inside of the design matters. The designers are specialized in typesetting. That's the pages. How many pages? What do the pages look like? They design the table of contents, your preface, your introduction, all that's designed on the inside. The page numbers on the bottom, whether you're having what type of paper are you having, the pound, 60 pounds, 70 pounds, what type of book is it, the fonts in there, are you putting pictures in it? And then the pictures have to be placed a certain way. You have call outs, on the side, all of that is typeset. There's special designers that design the inside of your cover as well. And guess what, y'all? It's still more. Yep, it's still more. There's proofreading because the editor reads for content and for gaps and critiquing to make sure that it makes sense. But a proofreader reads to make sure the grammar is good, the commas are there, the periods are there, to make sure that the grammar is good. So you go through that proofreading process. You also have the ISBN number. That's the way that people could look up your book, right? And you put in that ISBN number, it's registered. And whenever somebody looks up that number, that is your number for your book with your name and your book title. We also have copyright. We copyright it for you. We make sure you have your legal documents so nobody else can claim this writing. And we help you and walk you through the printing process and the shipping process. Whew. Yeah. It's a lot, but guess what? This is the consultation that I give to my authors. I let them know what to expect. And you do all of that, and guess what? You still have to market your book. You still have to sell it. After, look, you want your book to sell. After you did all of that, you don't just want to sell it to your cousins and them and mama and them and your sisters and them. You want to make sure that your book sells. Kevin was talking about how he wanted the book ready for a conference he was going to. And so he printed enough books that he could take to the conference that he was going to. Because after he spoke about evangelism, he had a book right there to talk about evangelism. That's awesome. You want to make sure that you have a plan while you're working on your book. What's your plan? How are you going to get your return on your investment? You know, you're going to have your website. You're going to have social media. You're going to have to plan a book launch, a book tour. See, a lot of people want to focus on this part. This is the part that's the kind of the fun part, because you out in front of everybody and everybody talking about your book, and this is cool. But guess what? If you don't have a good product, if you don't do the work, don't start planning the conference and the book tour and the parties. We don't have nothing to promote yet. We need to work on the book first. But when you get to a certain point, your project manager is going to say, hey, let's start that marketing plan. And I might even ask you up front, what's your plan for selling these books? Because you don't want to have cases and cases of books in the garage. You don't want to have cases and cases of books in your bedroom, in the corner. And every once in a while, somebody asks you about the book and you sell another book. You want to have a plan in place so that when that book comes off that printer and ships to you, honey, you ready to go. You have a book tour. You have several places to go. If you wrote a book for women and about women, you need to have talked to, sent pitch letters, contacted every church or every women's ministry or every women's organization to let them know about your book and when it's coming out and your availability. Can you come to their conference? Can you come to their church? Can you come somewhere? Sell your book, have a table, whatever it is you need to do to sell these books. Remember my first thing I said? What was your why? This is where it comes through. If you want everybody to be, know your information, you got to tap into that. You need to be at the trade shows. You need to be talking to business owners. You're branding. You wrote a book about branding. Then you need to be at the business conferences. You need to be everywhere. Whoever you think needs your book. Not just your mama and them, because after your cousins bought it, you're going to have books left over. Right? And so you want to make sure you get that out there. And so finally, I think this is almost finally, you got to be ready to do the work, y'all. You got to be ready to do the work. If you're ready, I'm ready. Be ready to do the work. It's your baby, remember? It's your baby. The task of publishing and marketing a book is a partnership between a publisher and an author. And this partnership will require commitment to the project. It'll require commitment to the project. So when you finish and you type the end, guess what? It's only the beginning. Be prepared to help develop, promote, and market your book while we work to do the same. And that's it. That's book publishing. Your next question might be, where do I start? Well, inbox me. I took you through all of this, but if you have more questions, if you want me to critique, if you want book coaching, inbox me. If you have some more questions, if you want to know about a little bit more, if you want to tell me your idea, maybe you're just starting writing, maybe you need some coaching, maybe you're finished, maybe it's been on the shelf so long and now you're ready to get at it. Inbox me at Terry Washington, all across social media. And also we're at Third Dimension Publishing. We're on Third Dimension Publishing on Facebook. Okay, guys. Let's see if you guys have any questions. Okay, I see a question from Siobhan. He says, he's asking the question, how do you deal with longevity and continued sales after releasing the book? So that is an excellent question, Siobhan. Thank you so much for watching. Now, what you would do to make sure you continue to have longevity is I would have a website on my own personal website. So I would have a terrywashington.com website, and I would make sure that my book is uploaded on the website. And then I would continue to speak about the topic, right? I would post something every day about the topic. I don't know if you guys have been watching my feed lately. I'm currently, I'll let you know what I'm writing. I'm working on a devotional. And so I've been posting some devotions every day, right? And so I'm pulling in an audience that likes devotionals. And so I'm going to have, on my website, my social media, more things about devotion, morning devotion, morning coffee, 365 days of inspiration, things like that. And so if I continue to talk about the topic, then there'll be longevity in that area. And then my own personal website, I'll have all my books up on my own personal website so that you continue to purchase it and buy it. So someone that's accomplished, like a TD Jakes, say for instance, he has one book a year. If y'all watch, he has one book he publishes a year, and he'll talk about that book to exhaustion while he's launching it and getting it out. And then he'll move on and talk about another topic and another book. But guess what? You're going to be able to find those books on his website. So you're going to make sure you get the website up and running and make sure all of your product and everything that you're doing, if you have engagements, if you're going, if you're speaking somewhere, you want to make sure that that's up on your website and your social media. Did that help you, Siobhan? Any other questions? Yes, Destiny, we have to find our niche. Any other questions? Any other questions on Instagram? Yes. Know your why, Amber. Yes. Right. Listen, we thank you so much for watching. I don't see any other questions right now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. See if we have questions here. Thanks, Tamara, for watching. Monica, are you there? I'm working with Monica Hurd. She's one of my authors. Yes, Michael, I am the publisher. Yes, I will inbox you information, but you can inbox me too. Inbox me too, and we could set something up. Yeah, let's make it happen, Mike. Let's see if we got any more comments, any more questions. I'm scrolling up because I'm multitasking. I am the producer. I am the publisher. I'm doing everything tonight. Great. I'm glad that I answered your question. Monica, are you still there? Monica, I think Monica's tired of me. I'm tough on Monica, but I know it's because I want her to put forth the best product that she can possibly put out. She has an incredible story. She has had an incredible journey. And when you guys see and read her book, man, her book is incredible. And I'm tough on her because I don't want no shorts. I want her to do the work. I want her to dig deep. I want her to give me all of it. Give me all of it and leave it all on the pages. Curtis, thank you. Thank you, Curtis, for watching. Any other questions? If we don't have any other questions, I think I have done everything. Listen, if you're interested in publishing, don't let another year go by. You know, you already said that you're going to write your book. You know, you said that last year, and you said it the year before, and you said it the year before that. You know, so this year, make it happen. We're in the 6th month of the year, guys. Already, we're in the 6th month of the year. The year is halfway over. Do you believe it? God, the year is halfway over. And so look what you can have. If you inbox me and we start your journey now in December, 6 months, if you put in the work, you can have a finished product and you can have a book launch in January 2020. Man, I can see it happening. And so my goal is to make sure you reach your goal. So let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Thank you guys for watching. Inbox me. I'm at Terry Washington. You see my name? You see my name? Terry Washington. I'm going to put it in the comments right now. Inbox me. Email me. And we'll set up some time in the near future to start your work. All right. I appreciate you guys for watching. Love you all. We'll talk soon. Good night.